So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily MCQ Practice. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs through a set of 4 to 5 MCQs. The idea behind this lecture series is to cover your current affairs, in fact, to allow you to revise your current affairs. And you get this revision through the much needed MCQ practice. This MCQ practice would come in really handy when you're appearing for your prelims examination next year. The purpose of this lecture series is to cover your current affairs portion. Remember, this lecture series is dedicated to current affairs alone. For practice of MCQs from polity, geography, history, and other subjects of UPSC, we will come out with separate MCQ series. This MCQ series is dedicated to current affairs alone. Now, 4 to 5 MCQs on a daily basis might seem like little effort. But these 4 to 5 MCQs, if covered on a daily basis, would add up to more than 1200 MCQs from current affairs alone. And 1200 MCQs from only current affairs are more than sufficient. You wouldn't have to worry about your current affairs portion while appearing for your prelims examination, provided you have made this lecture series a part of your daily routine. If it is a daily habit of yours, then current affairs won't be a problem in your prelims examination. So make it a daily habit of yours. All right, enough of the introduction. Let's straight away jump into the lecture, starting with question number 1. Consider the following statements regarding Waqf property. This property is donated for charity under Islamic law and its sale is prohibited. Once designated as Waqf, the ownership is transferred from the person making the Waqf to Allah, making it irrevocable. For a property to be declared Waqf, a written deed or agreement is mandatory. Okay. How many of the above statements are correct? Now look, under Islamic law, that is Sharia, any person can donate their property for charity, for the benefit of the entire Muslim community. Okay, so people can donate their property for charity. That property, once donated, would belong to Allah. Okay, and that property will be used for charitable purposes. Now, that property would be called Waqf property and would be managed by a Waqf board. Okay, the administrator of this property would be called a Mutwalli. Okay, but once it's donated, then only it can be called a Waqf property. Once it is donated, then the transfer is irrevocable. It belongs to Allah. It will be used for the benefit of Muslim people, Muslim Ummah, and it cannot be sold or leased out after that. Okay, permanently, basically, it then belongs permanently to the God. Okay. Now, this property is donated for charity under Islamic law, that is Sharia, and its sale is prohibited. Absolutely correct. Once designated as Waqf, the ownership is transferred from the person. The person who is making a donation is called Waqif to Allah, making it irrevocable. This is also correct. For a property to be declared Waqf, a written deed or agreement is mandatory. That means the Waqif has to give a written deed or agreement that he is transferring that property to Waqf. Okay. Now, this statement is false because not only a written deed is permissible, an oral agreement is also permissible. In fact, there are various ways through which a property can be declared Waqf. Written deed is one of the ways. Oral agreement is also possible. A person can sign in his will. A person, while dying in his will, can declare that some of his property would go to Waqf. All these are permissible ways for a property to be declared a Waqf. So, written deed is not mandatory. It is just one of the procedures. So, this is false. Only two statements are correct. B. Right? Question 2. Consider the following statements regarding Oil Fields Amendment Bill 2024. It seeks to replace Mines and Minerals Act 1957. The bill scraps criminal punishment in the earlier law and replaces it with fines. The bill restricts private investment in the field of crude oil exploration and extraction. Okay. Now, Oil Fields Amendment Bill seeks to amend Oil Fields Act of 1948, not the Mines and Minerals Act of 1957. All right. So this statement is false. Now, In the Oil Fields Act, it was mentioned that if a person violates the provision of this act, okay, some of the provisions of this law, then fines might be imposed and jail term can also be imposed. So a person can be jailed for not complying with the provisions of this law. Now, in the amendment bill, the jail term has been replaced by fines alone. So it has basically decriminalized certain offenses under the original law. All right. So the bill scraps criminal punishment in earlier law and replaces it with fines. Absolutely correct. The bill restricts private investment in the field of crude oil exploration and extraction. No. In fact, it promotes private investment so that private investors extract oil in India and we do not have to depend on imports from abroad for crude oil requirements. So this statement is false. Only 2 is correct. C. Question 3. Consider the following statements. Increased gold purchases by RBI and moving its gold held abroad back to India is an attempt to reduce India's reliance on US dollar. In 2023, Reserve Bank of India was the biggest buyer of gold than any other central bank. World Gold Council is an intergovernmental organization that has the mandate of securing gold mining reserves across the globe. Okay, now look, all the central banks in the world, like India's central bank is RBI, USA central bank is Fed Reserve, right? All the central banks of the world hold reserves. Okay, most of these reserves are in foreign currency, so that is why they are called foreign currency reserves or forex reserves, foreign exchange reserves. Okay, now majority of these reserves are held in US dollars. So that is why US dollar is also called the reserve currency of the world, because all the central banks in the world hold majority of their reserves in US dollars. But they don't hold their reserves completely in US dollars. Okay, they have diversified their reserves, right? Some of their reserves are also in gold. Some of their reserves are in other currencies like pound, euro, Japanese yen, and whatnot. But US dollar is the dominant constituent of reserves of central banks all over the world. Okay. But recently, after the Russia-Ukraine war and after sanctions put by USA against various countries, many countries have felt that the domination of America over US dollar makes them vulnerable. Because of America's sanctions on Russia, India could not trade with Russia because it cannot pay Russia for its oil in US dollars. Okay, so payments to Russia, trade with Russia was restricted because of USA sanctions. Therefore, countries all over the world, central banks all over the world wanted to diversify their reserves. They do not want to over rely on US dollars. That is why many central banks across the world started buying up gold. They wanted to increase the proportion of gold in their reserves and reduce the proportion of dollar in their reserves. Okay, RBI did so too. So RBI increased its gold purchases. Plus, RBI owned a lot of gold that was held in reserves abroad, mostly in London. RBI decided to bring that gold back to India also. So RBI wants to increase its gold holdings, okay, so that it reduces its over reliance on US dollars. And many other countries are also doing so. So this statement is correct. Now in 2023, RBI was the biggest buyer of gold? No. People's Bank of China. Okay. People's Bank of China was the biggest buyer of gold in 2003. People's Bank of China is the central bank of China. Okay. So People's Bank of China was the biggest buyer, not RBI. So this statement is false. Now, World Gold Council is an intergovernmental organization that has the mandate of securing gold mining reserves across the world. That is absolutely false. Because World Gold Council is not a governmental organization or an international governmental organization. In fact, its members are big mining companies, gold mining companies. Okay, and its basic purpose is to develop the market of gold and increase the consumption of gold across the globe. So it's not an intergovernmental organization. No government is a member of this organization. Private mining companies are members of World Gold Council. And WGC is headquartered in London. So this statement is also false only to C. And last, which of the following states is are correct regarding mule banking accounts? These accounts are used by criminals for laundering money. RBI has launched an AI model called Mule Hunter AI to detect mule accounts in the banking system efficiently. MuleHunter.ai was created by National Informatics Center under Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, MeitY. All right. Now, what are mule banking accounts? These are bank accounts that are held in the name of normal people, but they are used by criminals. Okay. These are dummy accounts which are opened in the name of other people but are used by criminals. Criminals do so because they want to evade or they don't want to get detected. So, whenever suspicious activity would be noticed in that banking account, the person on whose name that bank account is would be held responsible and he would be caught, and investigative agencies would talk to him or hold him responsible. But the actual people who were doing suspicious activity in that account were other criminals who were using that person's bank account for their own malicious reasons. Okay. Now, mostly criminals use these mule banking accounts for laundering money. So, this is true. Now, catching these mule banking accounts has been a big problem for banks in India, right? Therefore, RBI launched a new AI tool that would detect these mule banking accounts quickly and efficiently. This AI tool is called MuleHunter.ai. So, this is correct. Now, MuleHunter.ai was developed by a subsidiary of RBI called Reserve Bank Innovation Hub. Reserve Bank Innovation Hub, RBIH, which is headquartered in Bengaluru. Okay, it was not created by NIC under MeitY, no, by Reserve Bank Innovation Hub, which is a subsidiary of RBI. So this statement is false, 1 and 2 only. And with that, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. But please do not forget to revise this lecture also, because it'll hardly take more than 5 to 10 minutes, but through revision you'll be able to remember these MCQs for longer periods of time, at least till your prelims examination next year. Okay, so please do not forget to spend the necessary 5 to 10 minutes revising this lecture. Now, this lecture can be revised through our notes, and these notes shall be available on our Telegram channel. Okay, now where can you find our Telegram channel? So just below this video in the comment section, you'll find a link to our Telegram channel. You just have to click on that link. It will take you to our Telegram channel, and from there you can download the notes for not just this lecture, but all the other lectures featuring on our YouTube channel. All right. On that note, I'll be signing off. Thank you so much, everyone.